Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Keith Jesse, and tonight we are building the CROSSRC WT-4. Let's crack it open and check it out. Okay guys, we've got the CROSSRC WT-4 tow truck. It's like a 1990 something international tow truck looking thing. Pretty cool. It's got a full function tilt bed on it, a ABS molded hard body, the flip open hood, and a scale engine and all that good stuff. We've got a decal sheet. By the looks of it, they've given us pit mat to build it on, so we better get that set up first. That's pretty dope.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Jeez, that's pretty cool. Obviously the door is open, I think. I think they do. We'll find that out later. Bags and bags and bags of goodies. Very detailed dash. You can put the lights in behind, get that lit up. We're going to go full option on this guy. There is the lift motor for the hydraulic kind of function for lifting the bed up and down. Oh, there's a loose screw in there. Yeah, fell right there. So we're going to want to open that up and make sure it's greased anyway. So that's pretty cool. I don't know what size motor that is. It's like a long 380 or something, eh? Oh, it's just two taped together. I was joking. Yeah, that's a cool piece. All cast on the bottom. Cast metal. Oh, it comes with a motor.
Nice.
Well, snap. Comes with the 560 brushed motor. Big boy in there. Doesn't say what turn it is. It's a 38 turn. I didn't flip it over yet. 38 turn. Max power. Now we were planning on putting a Hobbywing 1200 Fusion in there so we didn't have to have room for the ESC. We have other motors. Cool. Oh, okay. It's a gear drive with a 380 motor onto it, like a gearbox, like a planetary reduction onto it. Okay. And then there's a sticker that does go between them, because it does feel like a separate unit. So that's how that works. That's cool.
Well, because it probably has a tilt, right? And then a
oh yeah, this will be the one that goes to a sprue.
Yeah.
Sprue gear, is that what it's called? Like a 3D printer? Sprue shaft?
There's a word for it. I just don't know.
That one.
Yeah.
Cool. Nice, some big old heavy duty tires. It says tires on it just in case
tires.
You didn't trust it's the clear bag. Better mark that bag. You don't know. Ooh, not bad.
You got foams in them too?
Yeah. Those will get some bite, man.
Wow. Nice. Oh,
6-pack of steel wheels. That's nice. We're building the dualies with the cast dually adapter in the middle. That is a very nice piece. I know a lot of guys on their trail trucks that run dualies would like to get that. That's pretty cool. And of course, CROSSRC. These will have a lot of nice scale hardware. Like other, we get the threads with the nut sticking out, so they look more scale. There we go. The big old cast rear axle and the cast front axle. Let's pop those out real quick.
Nice.
It's a beefy piece.
Look how scaled that looks though.
Oh yeah. Maybe we'll take it out of the other bag, sorry. Yeah, that's a nice piece, and it's heavy. That's nice. It's gonna be a heavy truck when it's double the box.
Yeah.
It's as much as the truck weighs. So it's a heavy box. Weighs as much as Ronnie. 20 pounds. Yeah, that's a nice piece. You're still gonna want to go through, pull out this hardware, and Loctite it before you put it together, just to double check, make sure it's good. Yeah, that's cool. What'd that do?
Like a diff lock maybe or something?
I think it is. It's obviously locked right there.
Probably for reading instructions.
Yeah, I'm gonna quit messing with it until I read the instructions, but that's cool.
That is cool.
And like very little cleanup work we're gonna have to do because we're gonna paint all these parts, of course. So very little cleanup, very nice. Usually cast parts are pretty ugly. We got big cast marks around them and stuff, so. Plastic mud flaps, but that's fine. Rear bumper. There we go. Wow, huge battery tray. We're gonna have more than enough room to mount an ESC and a shorty in there, no problem. So. And then I'm assuming this would be the cab. There's a cab, so compared to like a Tamiya semi, this thing is huge. Okay, I'm gonna. Ouch. After that, my turn.
Lead screw.
Did you see the manual? Was that?
I didn't see no manual come out.
Holy crap. Here's the bed.
Nice.
Man. That's a good weight for that bed.
Chassis rails.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Is it a USB stick?
Yeah, it looks like it. That's probably your manual.
Okay, we're gonna need to go buy a computer. We'll see you guys back here in a few minutes once I go pick up a computer. No. Okay, I found. Okay, Jesse found it. It's right there. USB stick, I believe. Hopefully my computer doesn't blow up when I plug that in and they steal my credit card information. Okay, guys, I found. Teamwork. We found the USB stick manual. We dug through everything, wondering what the heck the manual is. It does come with these QR codes, but they're not working. I don't know if that's because we're on iOS or something and they're just not jiving. There's too many firewalls in place that won't let us go to this maybe place where the dirty manual might live. But anyhow, USB stick in there. We're going to pop that in a computer, get that manual printed. I'm going to clean this up. We want to get this thing on the track, following our drift cars around by hopefully 2025. Okay, see you back in a second. Okay guys, so we got step one going. We didn't feel like wasting the printer ink on it, so we're just going to do it with a digital copy, get it done nice and simple. First 10 pages are pretty much parts layout, and then we get into the build. Now, the bags are all numbered and lettered, but there is no specification on which bags you need to open in the manual. That is obviously obvious for my dumb ass to see, so I don't believe it is in there. So it's a bit of digging to find all the parts. The belly pan for the transmission and the motor pieces are in the box with the cab. Go figure. So, and ultimately they're just trying to get a package, get it shipped out. So it makes sense, it's in there. Then we get to step number 1, where you need to put in the little slider piece for the servo. It calls for a M3x6mm screw, but they've given us a 3.5mm hole, which would be like a pass-through. And unfortunately, I believe, no, they didn't do the servo holes. So this one's fine as a pass-through, this one's fine as a pass-through. That should be a small hole. And these ones are small, so we can still thread our servo into that side. So luckily, this is an easy fix. You just need to add a longer bolt, and you could put a nylock nut on the back side so you can hold your shift servo in place, like so. So just a quick little pointer on that. So we'll save that 3x6 screw for something else. Now, there is a bag with all the hardware, a lot like your RC foil drive builds, and they're all labeled. Beautiful. I love building that way. I just find the bag I need, take a screw out, keep them all bagged up, and keep rolling that way. And you do get some parts that come with screws in the bottom, but they don't fully match with the instructions. I think they might just be extras. Okay. We're going to figure out step 2. Also remember, you're going to want to paint all your motor pieces before you put it on. This guy does come assembled. I did pull out the screws and check. They are Loctited from the factory, and it does have oil on the gears, but you're going to want to grease it before you seal it up. I recommend doing all your paint work and such, because just for me touching this and putting this on, now I need to go scrub and wash this really well to get the grease off, or the oil. But yeah, pick your color. Now these things usually had a blue transmission and a blue motor, and we have a lot of blue paint, so we're going to go fire that off really quick. We'll pop back in a couple of steps when we have something tangible here to talk about instead of pile of parts. We just wanted to give you a quick update. I'll see you back here in a couple seconds. Okay guys, so the build involves many more steps and processes that take a little bit more time to get it into a small video. We kind of wanted to work ahead on a few steps, as we discussed, to get a few things done. So at this point we have the sweet rollback, I guess, les pièces de résistance of the whole kit, the rollback deck that actually functions roll back. Put your junk on there, take it away to the junkyard. Very cool piece. Now I believe this is like an ABS plastic or something like that. It glues up fantastic. All of these side runners are like 1/4 inch, 6 mil thick. The deck is about 4 or 5 mil thick, a little bit thinner than the side rails, but otherwise pretty good. And then you get all these ribs that mount underneath. You have this little tube here, or not really a tube, but a bar. That's where you wrap one of your long extension wires around for the lights and power on the deck when it slides back and forth. So pretty cool stuff. There is a metal frame that mounts into this, but we need to get this painted first before we move on to that. Putting these guys in, just pay attention. In the manual, it's not really easy and great to see, but just take the part number and go back to the beginning of the manual and cross-reference that. That has been one thing that's been kind of taking a lot of time on this kit, is everything in the manual has a part number, but it doesn't tell you what tree or what bag it's in. And all the parts are bagged and treed, but you got to go back to the part number in the picture of the beginning of the manual. Then that will tell you which tree or bag it's in. It's a little bit backwards, kind of slow way of doing it, but it works. I guess makes you build slower, do a better job, right? So anyhow, we got the sweet rollback done. That's one piece. We're going to get that ready for paint. I've already been sanding on it. You're going to want to give it a good clean, a light scuff, and then another good clean before you paint it. Don't go any higher than, I would say, what, 400 on that, something. You want to stay pretty light on that. You don't want to get any deep scratches. We did this one in 600. It was pretty smooth, and I took one of our little board files. You can get these from Eliminator. Many other hobby shops have them on their front counter now in all different thicknesses. I took one that was about a 1/4 inch wide, I was able to run this nice little machine groove all the way down here, get all the little fuzzies and stuff, because all they did was just take a router and run that out. So you're going to want to spend a little bit of time in there, get that cleaned up. When you are sanding the edges, these have a nice, like, I don't know if you call that like a, what do you call that cut? Bevel cut? Yeah, a bevel cut to the edge all the way around them. So you don't want to sand that round. Keep that bevel cut nice, because that's how they would be in the full scale. So make it look round, you're gonna root it, and then it's hard to keep it looking smooth. But anyhow, nice light bar goes on top. It gets a winch on the deck somewhere, I believe. We'll get into that in a few. Let me get this out of the way. Watch out, doggy. Oh, good job, big guy. Okay, so chassis. What a beast. The leaf spring packs. Sorry, we've been completely taken over by the huge box of parts this thing comes with. So the leaf spring packs, this is the front one. It's got a little bit of a, instead of a swing shackle, they did a slide shackle. With the amount of travel this truck is going to get, that's all you need. We're not going off-roading and we're not trying to flex it out over a pop can. So in the front you get 3 shorter, I'd say 2.5-inch leaves. Then you get 3, yeah, it's 3, 3, and 3 stacks of leaves. So 3 small, 3 medium, 3 large in there. Plus the 1 main hoop, so I guess that would make 4 on the top, right? Yeah, so pretty cool. Now the rear, same thing, except for you go 4, 4, and 4. Obviously it's the rear, it's going to hold down a bit more weight. Now we went ahead and we painted the rear axle black. It does come in the cast metal. It is cast metal, and it comes in just raw cast metal. So we are going through and painting all the parts on the truck to get rid of the cast. We already did lift actuators for the deck. We did those in matte black. We did a little bit of a touch up on them. The tape kind of peeled a little bit up from the bottom there of some existing paint that was on it. So the rear diff is also locking. The little knob here, you turn it to the left and it moves the shift fork out, which then locks up the rear diff, and then you turn it to the right to lock it. Now it's not remote, it is manual, so most people either kind of set it once and forget it. But it is a cool option if you want to unlock it for wheeling around the house and having tight turning radius and such like that. Or if you want to go wheeling off in the grass, you can lock it up. Okay guys, back to the story at hand. Tonight our plan is to paint and detail up all the engine plastics and transmission that wrap this whole unit up. But before we get that done, also while the paint is drying, we are going to swap out this big old 550 brushed 38 turn max power motor for a Fusion 1200 Quick Run SE 2-in-1 system that is going to give us more room under the hood because the ESC is mounted inside it. Plus it is going to give us 1,000 times more smoother control than this motor will ever be able to offer. Plus you get FOC. It's going to run cooler. It's going to run better. It's going to have more power. Everything about it is better, better, better. And it's only 120 bucks in Canada. It's probably like 50 bucks now in the States.
Yeah.
While I work on that, Jesse is also going to give me a hand with the wheels and or the front suspension so we can get this guy into a standing rolling chassis, I guess you'd call it. Standing rolling chassis, and then we start to get everything fitted up and then start to really detail it. So, yeah, I'm going to shut up. We'll see you back here in a couple seconds once we get a couple more things laid out. Jesse mounted the Quick Run Fusion SE into the pre-built transmission. We've got that on the side. We've also got all the engine transmission parts and pieces painted in a nice Caterpillar yellow. We used Tamiya chrome yellow to pull that one off. It actually works out perfect for cat once you hit it with a bit of semi-gloss clear. Anyhow, right now we are building these wheels and they're proving to be a pain in the butt. These wheels, couple tips on building them. There is 2 sets of holes, the 5 in the middle and obviously the 12 or 16 or 42 around the outside. You do need to make sure they're lined up. I missed that on mine. I thought I had them lined up, actually I didn't, so I got to take this wheel apart. Now when you're putting them together, you're going to want to grab a couple longer screws to run through them. We stole these out of the kit, out of the parts bag here. We'll just put them back when we're done, of course, but grab yourself a 2.5 by 20 or 30 or whatever, something longer. You can put it through, get everything lined up, pull it down. And when you're pulling them together, You want to make sure your rim is fully seated into the bead, especially with this thick, heavy rubber. It does not squish like our rock crawler wheels. And make sure you have a good alignment on your inner bead lock ring before you assemble it. Kind of go through, make sure everybody's happy, and then put the two halves in and try to get everything to line up and lock in place. Okay guys, we have the Hobbywing Fusion Special Edition SE 1200 kV motor mounted into the faux Caterpillar engine we're building. We decided to go with a cat yellow for it. The closest we could get was Tamiya chrome yellow, and it actually worked out pretty good. It's a good base. Now once we go through and weather and detail that and make it look like it's a little bit of a dirty engine, not we're going to go crazy and look like it's gushing oil and everywhere, but we're going to dirty it up a little bit. We're going to add some rust to the turbo and the exhaust manifold and such like that. Yeah, it's going to look pretty good. So anyhow, that motor does fit in there, no issues. Now for the shifting servo for the transmission on the rear, it calls for a mini. Yeah, so it calls for a mini. Jesse and I looked for a mini high and low. We found one of them at Eliminator RC. They're able to help us with everything, but it was $76 Canadian for the shift servo. This truck's big enough, we can make the little bit more space and room we needed to put in a full size, so we put in a full size servo. Actually, we had ordered the shift servo from CROSSRC directly, or somebody that had it in stock anyhow, and we got the wrong one sent out. So we ended up just throwing that in. If you take a little bit of time and a pair of your flush cuts, some good flush cuts, and a knife, you can cut away enough of the bracket where you can get that to sit into it. Just make it like a U shape, take off the one side completely, clean up and flatten up the inside of it, drill a couple holes. We have 2 screws holding it in. There's a little slide adjuster piece. Cut the slide adjuster piece, use it as a filler in there. Once you're working on it, you'll know what I'm talking about. It'll work out fine. Wheels and tires are done. We got them all set up and done. Pay attention to how they go. This guy fits into this guy to make a dually wheel, so they kind of touch in the middle. I kind of would have been like a little stoked if there was just a little bit of gap in the middle, so we may put a washer or two in the middle just to give us that little bit of gap, because you do not want your tires rubbing, because they will blow apart on the full size. I don't know if you guys drive or know commercial trucks, but the tires definitely ain't touching. If they're touching, that's a problem. Your tires are going to blow up. So we're going to find a way to deal with that. We got the front axle out of the paint booth, looking really good. We did that in a black enamel, so it's really strong. It's going to take a beating, same as we did the rear axle. Now, when you put your front leaf springs together, you'll end up with this little bit of screw sticking out the bottom. You can take a Dremel or something, nip that down, or if you have a big old bin of screws like we have, you can go through and find a shorter one. But we also made this thing a couple years ago, so we'll put this guy to use and just quickly nip that down. Try not to take any of the mount away and keep it nice and flat and clean. And the most important thing, do not overheat it and get anything red hot or burn it out. You'll just burn out the Loctite and you could just weaken the bolt. From there, we're going to mount the front end, get the wheels on it. We'll see you back here in a couple of seconds. Inside front, or slip shackle in the front on this side?
Yeah, you can see, yeah, slip shackle in the front.
There's a slot for the bolt to move?
The slot, yeah. Because that one's just the size of the bolt, and this one's... So I believe the steering faces forward.
Okay guys, just as you heard Jesse and I discussing, the front of the frame has a bit of a slot for your slide shackle part on the leaf spring, and the rear has a hole. So you want to make sure your knuckles on the front are pointing towards the front, and your shackle is on the front with, of course, the bolts to the inside frame. It's not behind the axle steering, is it?
I don't think so.
Okay, good.
But we could be wrong.
No, it's showing the knucks in the front there, right? Yep. Okay, so hopefully you guys are micro guys and you have a SCX24 wheel wrench, because they are the 2 millimeters that you require, and they're a nice thin profile barrel that you can actually get in here with no harm or damage to your paint job. And I was reading a lot of things on the internet about the builds of this truck where guys were breaking these off because they were using pliers to turn these bolts and having a lot of trouble with it. So don't use pliers. Worst case, go buy yourself an SX24. They're a lot of fun. Like this?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I think we have 37 of them. Okay guys, there you go. Make sure you got your steering knuckle in the front side. You got your slide shackle on the same side with the frame mounts to the inside. Looks good. SCX24 2 millimeter wheel wrench works good, or you may have something that works, but these work out great. Do not over tighten them. These U-bolts will snap very easy. They've already been bent, so they have stress points already in them, so just snug. Okay, we have one more side to do. We're going to get that mounted in the truck. We're going to put some wheels onto it, and then we're going to start the detailing on the engine, such like that. That will be a very cool episode. I think we might start the next episode off the detail work. We might just wrap this up after we get it into roller status, so you guys can start enjoying this in a 17-part series. Is that enough?
Probably 26 parts.
Okay, that's cool. Let's go 26. Full pull, full pull. Okay. I'm going to get this together. We'll see you guys back here when we get this all hung up on the truck, looking at it all pretty, and we'll talk about what we're planning is from there going forward. Okay guys, there you go. We quickly wanted to throw this together, show you what it's kind of going to look like. Actually, we wanted to see what it's going to be looking like shortly. Now the bed, of course, is going to be sitting higher up as it gets a slide rack underneath it with all of its tilt and go back function. That guy has a bit more sanding to do, and we got to build that rack on the bottom, and we'll get that guy painted up. The servo that we mounted into the back, now we kind of mocked it up. Also, it's a good idea to mock everything up, see how it fits. Now, we did not realize that this guy is such a tight fit that they actually cut the floorboard to fit around the mini servo, which is kind of a poor decision on their end. They're very hard to find. Even Amazon lists either a micro or a standard. Very hard and very chancy, I guess you would, because the chance of getting a mini is very slim. They're probably just going to send you a standard or a micro, call it a mini. We literally just went through that with the one that we bought for this one. So we're thinking about putting a converter plate into it, quickly 3D print a plate that will hold a micro servo in the size hole that we need just to get the job done, to get this guy rolling. That way we don't have to go into a bunch of body work. Now, of course, it would be quick just to cut this open, but then if we have to modify the back wall of the cab, it's going to start looking janky, and we don't want that. So we will change that by the time you see it in the next video. We do have the motor and transmission unit in the paint booth right now, starting to get some weathering paint. We got this guy getting ready for some rust coat on him. We start with a layer of matte clear, and that helps absorb all the pigments and washes and stuff that we put onto them, kind of darken them up and add some detail. And then we add some, what is that oil? Some Citadel paints? What's that oil?
Ink.
Pardon?
Don't use ink. It's like ink.
That's Citadel.
Or Ellen oil.
Yeah, it's like Ellen or some. Yeah, Citadel Paints makes this oil. It looks pretty cool. It looks just like runny old drippy oil, so that works really well. But yeah, the chassis on this guy is pretty cool. He does have this box in the bottom where all your electronics are going to go. Then you have a jumper cable for your ESC to go up to under the hood where the hood flips open. You have a battery tray. I like how they did that design. Very, very cool. The suspension on this truck is ridiculous. The thing on the rear, like, barely moves. I'm going to be able to put a full-size crawler on this and it won't even move at all. It's just going to bounce around, probably look a little ridiculous. Did you see any shocks? Well, we haven't seen any shocks yet, so...
I don't think it needs any.
Huh. Yeah. Let's face it, like, the RC four-wheel drive shocks don't do anything anyway. They're just there to hold stickers.
Yeah.
And paint and sticker holders, right? So, well, I guess limit travel, but these ain't going anywhere, so. Want to see how much it flexes? None. Oh! Look at that, Jesse. Give me a rock. That's just chassis flex.
Yeah. Chassis flex. Shackle movement. Yeah.
That's just pure chassis. Cool beans, okay guys, we got a lot of work ahead of us. We have to get rid of all these ugly mold lines on the body. A lot of people just go over and paint them and it makes me cry a little bit. That's not cool. Quickly get rid of that. One way I like to do it is scrape it off with the back edge of a razor lightly just to get it lower, not until it touches the material at either side, just to help drop it down, and then you're not sanding at it for 3 months. So quickly drop that down, sand that guy off. I would go 400, 600 on here, and then get that primered up and painted. Now, we don't know what we're going to use for paint, as Tamiya paint is running short. I do have a fair amount, but we're going to need at least 3 cans of the primary color, 2 cans of the secondary. Minimum, like they're little cans. You want to get a good wet coverage on there, so each piece will take, like this will take a can for sure.
Wow.
Easily. And I'll take 2 for sure. So. Oh, and there's doors. If you have any Tamiya paint and you'd like to help the cause, please send it to us. We're hurting. They took away our good stuff. We've tried the On Point paint, not digging it, for Lexan so far. Vallejo has spray acrylics out now. So there's that, but that's acrylics. So we're kind of in limbo in Canada right now with the RC paint solutions. Everybody says use automotive paint, but automotive paint has like high solids in it, so it fills scratches and stuff. I guess we could work with some paint shops, maybe get something custom done. But okay guys, we'll see you on part 2 coming up in a few weeks. Cheers.